Praise the Lord once more. So this particular morning, I'm saved. I love Jesus as my personal Savior. And I'll actually dwell with Him throughout my life because I know the goodness that He has done to me. And I will never forsake Him in any way. So this morning, I really say thank you for the church for having given me this opportunity. I know it takes the hand of God, but to believe whenever you are given that particular forum, you pray for it, and we believe that God will actually take us through. So I think we've been away for quite some time just because of our job setup, but we are happy because God has been with us wherever we have been. So this particular morning, I want us to land in the book of 2 Kings 5. In this particular or in this particular sermon that we are actually taking today, we shall talk about 3 characters in that particular book. And I believe at the end of the readings, you will try to convict yourself. Where are you as a person? You know, the scripture was actually put or were given to us by God for a reason. And that particular scripture is supposed to assist us and to guide us in what we are doing. So this particular day, we shall read several scriptures. I'm somebody that actually expand more of the Bible, so that at the end of the day, we shall actually acknowledge the goodness of the Bible. So, and my sermon today is, what do you do with your own salvation? Most of the times we are saying that we are saved. I don't know what is it that you are doing with your own salvation. So as we read and summarize this at the end of the day, we'll be able to know what is it that we are doing in our own salvation. We want to read in 2 Kings 5. We're able to read about somebody called Naaman. Maybe media, you can bring for us 2 Kings 5, that starts from verse 1 and NIV. I can start to read. Naaman, the commander of the army, was highly respected and esteemed by the king of Syria, because through Naaman, the Lord had given the victory to the Syrian forces. He was a great soldier, but he suffered from a dreaded skin disease. In one of the raids of Israel, the Syrians had carried off a little Israelite girl who became a servant of the Naaman's wife. One day, she said to her mistress, "I wish that my servant could go to the prophet who lives in Samaria. He could cure him of his disease." So the Bible is telling us about this man called Naaman. And the Bible is telling us that he was actually a respected man in his particular land. And he was an army commander. And at that particular thing, he goes further to say that this guy was actually suffering of a dreaded disease, which was actually leprosy at that particular time. Leprosy, I think it can be equated to something like cancer, can be equated to something like maybe HIV, because those are actually like terminal disease. So when you see somebody that had leprosy at that time, it was like a cursed person. So we're able to see about Naaman himself. The Bible is telling us that he was a respected person. He was actually an army commander. And even the president of that particular land, the king of that particular land, had a lot of respect to this particular person. And the Bible is telling us that during that time, there was a captive girl, a slave girl that was captured during a raid. You know, during those particular time, whenever there was a war, it could reach a time whereby it was like they were capturing maybe some ladies, or even at times even women. But I think for us men, we were not actually captured, we were actually being killed. The reason why, I don't know. But the Bible is telling us in this particular context that there was actually a captive girl. And this girl, out of his innocence or out of his youngness, he was able to identify the purpose of his salvation. We're able to see that this particular Cal was able to say to Naaman, he actually said to his wife, that is in verse, I think in verse 3. One day, my master could go to the prophet who lives in Samaria. He could cure him of his disease. When Naaman heard of this, he went to the king and told him what the Cal had said. The king said, go to the king of Israel and take the letter to him. So we are able to see, at times our own salvation. Somebody can actually be like, you see something good somewhere. Out of that goodness that you've seen in that particular place, are you the one to actually give an information to another person? Are you another person to actually sleep on that information that you know? We're able to see about this slave girl or the captive girl. He was able to know the goodness of his prophet, which was actually Elisha at that particular time. He knew that Elisha can cure anything because God was with him. And he knew that if this guy could go to his particular native land, he could actually be healed. You could actually remember that maybe this captive girl was somebody like less than 10 years, because the Bible is telling us that he was actually a young girl. And even on our own context, he didn't even expand thereafter to see that when a man was healed, was his girl actually respected? I don't know. But as per what the Bible is telling us, he actually tells us the goodness of this girl. He didn't keep quiet, despite the fact that he was in a foreign land. Let us continue in 5 to 6. The king said, go to the king of Israel and take his letter to him. So Naaman set out, taking 30,000 pieces of silver, 6,000 pieces of gold, and 10 changes of fine clothes. The letter that he took read, this letter will introduce my officer Naaman. I want you to cure him of his disease. So we're able to see that even when Naaman received the information about his particular prophet, the first thing that he actually told was, this particular prophet is actually the king of that particular land. And because, an army commander, even if it's now in Kenya, an army commander is somebody, is somebody that actually controls the army. He can even overthrow the country and actually take even the leadership of that particular country. We're able to see in this particular contest that when Naaman set the food to go to Israel, the first thing was he went to the king without realizing that, where am I going? He could have even tried to inquire from the guy, who is this person that you actually say? But the only thing that he knew was there is somebody in Israel. And when we see in the book, in that same book, that is 5:7, we're able to see the response of the king. The king says, when the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his clothes in dismay and exclaimed, how can the king of Syria expect me to cure this man? Does he think that I am God with the power of life and death? It's plain that he is trying to start a quarrel with me. So we're able to see the king. He knew that he could not cure that leprosy. He knew that this power that has been given to him was actually more than anything. He can never do anything without it. So in that response, it was like he was seeing as if it was like this guy wanted a fight with him. So we're able to see the response from Elisha. That's in 8 and 10. When the prophet Elisha heard what happened, he sent word to the king. Why are you upset? Send a man to me, and I will show him that there is a prophet in Israel. That's the response of Elisha. we're able to see that Elisha was able to understand that the king could not do anything. And the king was furious. He was actually furious to the king of Syria. And the Bible is telling us that the king was like, he wanted now to prepare his army to go and attack Syria because of whatever message that he has been given to him. So when we see about this particular contest, we are able to see Elisha now standing in that particular faction. Because Elisha knew the goodness of God. So when we see in that particular verse, that's 8 to 10, we're able to see about the response of Elisha. Talking now about the king. And instructing Naaman what to do. That is from 11 to around 14. My Bible. But Naaman left in when now Elisha talked to Naaman to go to the river Jordan. He said, Elisha sent a servant out to tell him, go and wash himself 7 times in river Jordan, and will completely cure and be completely cured of his disease. But Naaman left in array, saying, I thought that he would at least come out to me and pray to the Lord his God, wave his hand over the diseased spot and cure me. Beside, aren't the rivers of Abana and Papra back in Damascus better than any river in Israel? I would have wished in them, I could have washed in them and be cured. His servant went up to him and said, Sir, if the prophet had told you to do something difficult, you would have done it. Now, why can't you wash yourself, he said, and be cured? So Naaman went down to the Jordan, dipped himself in it seven times as Elisha had instructed, and he was completely cured. His flesh became firm and held like that of a child. He returned to Elisha with all his men and said, Now I know that there is no God but the God of Israel. So please, sir, accept a gift from me. So to expand further, the Bible is telling us in that particular passage that when now Elisha talked to Naaman to go to River Jordan and dip himself 7 times, we're able to see Naaman himself, he was like, why? Why do I have to go to those particular rivers? Because according to him, that river Jordan was actually a very filled river at that particular time. But he was actually trying to see, why do I have to go there when we have better rivers in their own land? And the Bible is telling us that it was actually his servant that actually told him. Suppose he would have told you something else. Could you not have done it? So his servant tried to talk to him, and he was able to agree to abide with Elisha's instruction. And the Bible is telling us that when he went now there, as he was dipping him inside that particular water 7 times, he came back after the 7th time as young as he was during that adolescence time. That's actually what the Bible is telling us. So, at times there are some things that we as human beings, we cannot understand. But God himself, God himself knows even our own destiny. In whatever circumstances that we are passing through, God knows. Because when you see about Naaman, he was actually living with a dreaded disease. But he didn't keep quiet because he knew that he has been told that there is somebody that can heal. And he took all the things that he could have done so that he actually go there. So we have seen about the slave girl and we've seen about Naaman. We want to see again the second character or the third character, somebody called Gehazi. That's in that same verse. That's 2 Kings 5, 20 to around 27. We're able to read now about Gehazi. when Elisha's servant Gehazi said, let me start maybe from around, let me continue from maybe 16. Elisha answered, by the living Lord whom I serve, I swear that I will not accept the gift. Naaman insisted that he accept it, but he could not. So Naaman said, if you won't accept my gift, then let me have 2 mule loads of hard and take home with me, because from now I will not offer sacrifices or burnt offerings to any god except the Lord. So I hope that the Lord will forgive me when I accompany my king to the temple of Rimmon, the god of Syria, and worship him. Surely the Lord will forgive me. Elisha said, go in peace. Elisha said, and Naaman left. He had gone only a short distance when Elisha's servant Gehazi said to himself, my master has let Naaman get away without paying a thing. He should have accepted what the Syrian offered him. By the living Lord, I will run after him and get something from him. So he set off after Naaman. When Naaman saw a man run after him, he got down from his chariot to meet him and asked him, is something wrong? 22. No, Gehazi answered, but my master sent me to tell you that just now 2 members of the group of the prophets in the hill of Ephraim arrived, and he would like you to give them 3,000 pieces of silver and 2 changes of fine clothes. 23. Please take 6,000 pieces of silver. Naaman replied, insisted on it, tied up on the silver in 2 bags, and gave them and 2 changes of fine clothes to the 2 of his servants. He sent them ahead of Gehazi. When they reached the hill where Elisha lived, Gehazi took the 2 bags and carried them into the house. Then he sent Naaman's servant back. 25. He went back into the house, and Elisha asked him, where have you been? Oh no, sir, he answered. But Elisha said, wasn't I there in the spirit when the man got out of the chariot to meet you? So that story is long, but we are able to see about Naaman himself. When he came from his particular land, he came out with the gifts because he believed at that particular time that he could buy. Even after being healed, his perception was, I'll pay the price of it. I'll have to pay something because I'll not just come like that. And the Bible is telling us that Naaman had taken several silver, I'm very sure that it was several millions of shillings at that particular time. So, and he was able to go again with several clothes as gifts to the man of God. And the Bible is telling us that when now he wanted to pay, Elisha said he can never take it. Because he believed, Elisha himself believed that his healing has not come through to him. He has come because of God himself. So we're able to see about now that Elisha was not able to take these particular gifts. There was now a servant called Gehazi. Gehazi might be somebody like a deacon. He might be somebody like even an elder like me. He might even be somebody like an assistant pastor. And the Bible is telling us that he was with Elisha at that particular time because he was actually like his assistant. He was like his messenger. So the Bible is actually telling us that when now Gehazi realized that Elisha has never taken anything, he actually said he cannot allow. And he actually went back, pulled those particular gifts, And the Bible is telling us that he wanted only 3,000. But this Naaman, because he had these gifts and he could not understand, he said, I'll give you 6,000. Because he actually wanted to multiply from like 3,000 to 6,000. Because he had all the money. So the Bible is actually telling us that Naaman was able to give in good faith. He didn't have anything. Because Naaman did not know the motive of this particular guy. When you see about this Gehazi, the Bible is telling us that when again he has taken these particular things. When he went now to Elisha, Elisha is telling him, where have you been? We are able to see again that this guy could not even confront to say that, I'm sorry, I had followed this particular thing, or even I've done something that's not good before you. But he actually said, I was just there. Just imagine, the man of God can see even something that you are not able to see yourself. Because Elisha was with God. And Elisha is actually telling this guy again that, was my spirit not with you when I was seeing you carrying those particular things? At the end of the day, there was a consequences. Elisha told now Gehazi, because you have taken and you have done something that's not good in the eyes of God, let Naaman disease go to you and your own generation. My brothers and sisters, at times we do things that can actually affect our own generation. We can do small things that we actually believe that is actually beneficial to us at our own age, or even at our own season. But we know that we are planting a very bad seed to our own generation, to our own children. At times, we even at times go to lie like Gehazi. Because when Elisha was actually talking to Gehazi, instead of even admitting his particular sins, he was saying, I was just there. Yeah? I could imagine he's actually a grown-up, and he's even lying to the man of God. And he has actually seen all the goodness that even Elisha has actually done. But he was not able to do. So we have seen the three characters. That's the captive girl, Naaman, and Gehazi. What we learn from it. I know at the end of the day, or at the end of our sermon, I want you to conflict yourself and ask yourself, are you like that captive girl? Are you like maybe that Naaman? Or are you the Gehazi? Because out of it, there are some lessons that we learn from it. Everything that comes from the Bible has a lesson. So we are able to see about the captive girl. The captive girl is actually tells us that he accepted her situation without any bitterness. He knew that he was actually a slave. He knew that he was actually in the hands of these guys. If Naaman and his wife wanted to kill this particular captive girl, he could have killed. But he actually said, let me be patient. So even as at times, in our own spiritual life, you might actually be like in a situation whereby you are not able to explain yourself. Can you respect the season that you are in? Maybe God has put you in that particular season for a reason. Can you respect that particular season? Because there is no season that stays permanent in this world. You might be like you are young, maybe another 20 years or another 10 years. But you can never be young forever. That means a season can never last forever in your own life. You might be like you are down because of financial at this particular time. But it's never the end of it. Maybe it's just a season for you. You will fast at the end of the day. So we are able to see this particular girl. Despite the reason that he knew about Naaman, that Naaman had leprosy, he didn't just keep quiet. And he was not bitter about it. In any way, you could have actually listened and say, let him die. Let him die. Yeah? Because with him, he was very sympathetic. He was not bitter about it. And out of it, he actually told the good message. So I'm encouraging you this morning. You bitter of the situation that you are in. If you are Peter, ask yourself, why am I Peter? There is no situation that is there in our own life that God does not know. Even God knows every situation. It's only us to continue to pray, because God will actually make us through in that particular thing. Another lesson that we learn about this girl said, retained our faith in God even in foreign land. The Bible is telling us in the book of Proverbs 22:6. Maybe you can bring that particular verse. You say, train the child so that when he grows up, he will not depart from it. So I could assume that maybe this girl was like maybe a Sunday school person. He was like a Sunday school girl. Say, train a child in the way he should go. When he is old, he will not turn from it. I'm very sure that he was actually somebody that was actually going to the service where Elisha was. Because if he knew the goodness that Elisha had, that's why even when he was in that foreign land, he could still maintain that faith. He could still maintain the faith of that true God. So even us as a person, wherever you are, can you maintain your faith? If really God has saved you in the situation that you are in, can you continue with that particular faith? You can even see somebody going to maybe Saudi Arabia, maybe looking for a job. He reaches there, he turns out to be a Muslim. I said, why do you turn your own faith to another faith? You can even see somebody now, maybe somebody might be coming for a church as a full gospel member. He goes to a foreign land. He goes to another church. Then ask yourself, where does your own salvation last? Because when you see about this, we are able to see about this particular car. Despite the place where he was able to retain his particular faith. Another thing is saying he became witness and testimony of the works of the prophet Elisha. You know, when God has actually done something good to you, can you continue testifying the goodness that God has given you? But if God has actually done something good to you, and you actually still without testifying the goodness, how will somebody know the goodness of God? That's why the Bible says, "He who has a son has a testimony." He who has a son has a testimony. So if God himself has come to you, you can testify the goodness that God has done to you. So my brothers and sisters, remember, we have to witness the goodness that God has done for us. Even despite all those, at times we have our own pastors. To even go and testify the goodness of the goodness of what your own pastor has done. Or are you the one that only testify about the bad things? I don't know. It's only you that you can convict yourself. How I wish that you can have the heart of this captive girl. Because this girl was like, he was able to meditate. He was able to testify the goodness that God has done for him. It's my desire that we have a heart like that. Because it's a heart that does not hide about the goodness of our own salvation. Another character that we want to see is about Naaman. Naaman, the Bible is actually teaching us about humility and acceptance. This guy was humble as a person. Even when his particular king was actually saying about the greatness of this particular guy, he was saying that he was actually a great person. He was somebody that was dependent. He was somebody that even despite whatever that he was doing, he was able to still continue doing his particular job. So the Bible is telling us, or is giving us, that out of that humility and acceptance, he was able to be changed. Put yourself, if he heard about this sermon of this particular girl, and he actually saw that this girl is somebody that cannot talk to me, he's just a mere person, he's just a slave, you could not have gotten where you want to be. Another thing is, when Elisha told him to go to the river, this guy wanted to actually go away. But we are able to see that he was very humble because he had his servants. His servant was able to talk to him. But out of that humility, he was able to say, let me go and do. Let me go and do as per what the prophet is actually said. And his godfather said that when he went there, he was able to be healed. Another lesson that we got from there, and same faith is one step at a time, and always be obedient. Faith is one step at a time. That one you can read in the book of Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 5:7. So, what does it mean? Faith is one step at a time. You know, at times when you are going upstairs, in a building, there are so many steps that we go. If you happen to go like now, you are like, instead of you going from one step to another, and it's like maybe instead of going one, you want to go to like 5 steps, you will actually have an injury. You will actually cause an accident to your own self. So, the Bible is telling us that he took a step. Even when Elisha was actually telling him, can you go and dip yourself 7 times? It was actually a step. You know, steps was like he was going 7 times out of another. Suppose he could have actually said, I want to go 1 step. Will he have been healed really? He could not have been healed. Because the first step was to dip himself 7 times. He could have dipped himself once and come out without going for the 7th time. At the end of the day, he could not have been healed. So we are able to see about him. And when he was dipping himself that first time, I'm very sure he was seeing his hand. There is nothing that is coming. And he was counting one after another. So with that step, one after another, I'm very sure out of every step he was praying, can it happen? Can it happen? When it reaches now the 7th step, that's now the time that he was healed. So the Bible is telling us that faith is one step at a time. Never actually be like, if it's like now you have been saved today, you want to run like a baby. You can never run. Suppose as a young mother, God has blessed with a child. And after that delivery of that child, you see that child running. What will you do as a mother? Mother Mary, what will you do when you get that baby, that first day that you've seen? Unayo mtoto anaanza kukimbia. Anasema unatoroka. Because you see that it's not okay. There is something wrong. Sina hivyo. So even as in terms of faith, it's a step by step. That's why even a baby is actually caught today. It's like he does not know himself. Like if you cut now like a baby and it's like he's running, hata wewe utakimbia. Utakimbia. So we need to ask ourselves. We need to maintain one step at a time. Another lesson that we learn is God's grace is priceless. We can never buy God's grace. In whatever circumstance, we can never buy. If you see about Naaman, he had all the gifts. I'm very sure he had all the millions that can be equated at this particular time. But what happened with Elisha? He did not allow himself to be swayed with money. Because he knew that he can never fight that salvation. But if we allow ourselves to buy salvation, I'm very sure we will not go far. Because the Bible is telling us that Jesus himself came and he took everything. Whatever price that can be bought, Jesus himself took that particular price. So why do we go to the extent of buying salvation? So the Bible is telling us that let us not entertain the element of actually saying that our grace can be bought. Our grace solves sufficient. God himself is the ultimate price that we have actually done. Another lesson that we get from Naaman, he was thankful after healing. When you see, when he was healed after the seventh time, what happened? He went back to Elisha with his servants. If he was even another person, he would have even gone from the river and go back to his particular land. But he said, no, let me go and say thank you. Because out of his thankfulness, he was able to see the goodness of the salvation. Because when now he went to Elisha to say thank you, and after saying thank you, he said, I have some gifts. But Elisha said, no, I can never allow that kind of thing. So at times, my brothers and sisters, let us be thankful on the goodness that God has done for us. It's good to always be thankful. If you see about Naaman, he was able to actually say and even recognize the goodness of God. And he was saying that I have known really there is a true God in Israel. Even as today, we are worshiping that God of Israel this particular morning. And we will never die up even worshiping him wherever we are. Our last character is a character called Gehazi. Gehazi, the Bible is telling us that he was a messenger. He was like an assistant. He was like an assistant to Elisha. And this particular person, he was able to take gifts that Elisha himself did not even authorize. Because Elisha knew that if he could have allowed Naaman to actually give us a gift, he could have actually seen that maybe this particular God that we are worshiping is a God that it's like after money. He didn't want to have that material thing. So what does the Bible tell us about that? Gehazi character is like he was a shepherd without a shepherd's heart. He was a shepherd without a shepherd's heart. He was somebody that he didn't have any compassion. He didn't have any compassion even over Naaman. He didn't even try to see the pain that even Naaman was actually passing through. But he actually said, I'll go after those particular wealth. So he's actually demonstrating to us that Gehazi himself was a shepherd without a shepherd's heart. You know, a shepherd without a shepherd's heart is like maybe now you are putting your own animals with maybe a 10 of lions. At the end of the day, those lions will actually sweep all those particular sheep or goats that you have. So that person was like, he didn't have a heart that's actually, he didn't have a heart that humbles himself. He didn't have a heart that can actually resonate to say that this guy has been passing a lot of problems, but he's the one that God has actually changed. When we see maybe even further about the character of Gehazi, you can even still see in the book of 2 Kings 4:24 to around 31. We're able to see the same Gehazi. There was a woman called a Sunamite woman. This woman was barren for quite some time. When Elisha came in, the Bible is telling us that Elijah was able to prophesy to this particular woman. At the end of the day, this woman was able to get a child. And the Bible is telling us that there was a time that this child was sick. And when this child was sick, you can actually read in that book, that 2 Kings 4:21 to around 31, you'll see about what I'm actually talking about. The Bible is telling us that when Gehazi, or when this woman child was actually sick, the Bible is actually telling us that past that this child actually died. But when this woman was going to Elisha, he was able to go to Elisha, to where Elisha was. And the Bible is telling us that when he was in the midst of Elisha, Elisha was actually telling him, he was actually talking to this particular lady. But this lady went to the extent of pulling the leg of Elisha. And we're able to see about this guy called Gehazi. He was able to pull, and he wanted to pull this woman away from Elisha. And the Bible is telling us that Elisha told him, don't leave him the way he is. At the end of the day, that woman's child was healed. You can actually read, at least you'll see the character of Gehazi. He was a person that doesn't have a pain. He was a person that he was not even sympathetic to this particular woman. This woman had a child. He had only this particular one child, and this child had died. But you are still seeing him pulling this child, this woman, from only talking to who? To Elisha. So at the end of the day, we're able to see that this guy was a person without a shepherd's heart. Another lesson that we learned from this guy was he had a wrong motive of service. He has a wrong motive of service. In the book of Matthew 12, 33 to 34, it says, brood of vipers, how can you speak good things when you are evil? For the mouth speaks from the overflow of your heart. Can you bring for us? That is Matthew 12, 33 to 34. Okay, I know it's still coming. So the Bible is actually telling us that at times things that we talk, he's saying the overflow of our own thinking is what is seen or actually being manifested by others. He say, either make tea good, its fruit good, or else make tree bad, and its fruit bad. For a tree is known for its fruit. 34. Brood of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So we are able to see the real motive that this particular person had. It was like in service, but he was not actually in that particular service. His motive in service was like maybe material things. He was actually there to be seen. He was not there as a person. He was actually there with a very bad motive. His intention was not to enrich the kingdom. His intention was so selfish. It was actually a selfish service. So try to look. Are you coming here for what service? What is it that you are coming here? So even if you see again in the book of 2 Chronicles 25:2, we're able to see about King Amaziah. The Bible is telling us that this particular king was able to do good things. But the Bible says he was not able to do everything. Because at the end of the day, he's actually saying on that particular verse, saying that he was able to do a lot of revenge. There were a lot of good things that he had done. But he was able to do a lot of revenges. So what does the Bible tell us? At times we might be doing good things, but we are not complete person. It's good to be complete in what we are doing. Why do you come? It's like you are not yourself. You are just there to be seen, but you are not yourself. So if you go and read on in this book, 2 Chronicles 25:2, the Bible is telling that this king was actually good. The Bible says he was good, but he was not good in everything. He was not good at all. Another lesson that we learn is actually he was a disloyal servant and subordinate. He was not honest. This guy was not honest. That's about Gehazi. He was not. He was not honest. Try to ask yourself, when he was asked by Elisha, where have you been? The first thing that he actually said was, I was here. Eh? So why do you become dishonest? Even at times, if you've not been in church for quite some time, it's good to say, I have not been in church because I was there. I was somewhere. I was in a particular place. But at times you are told, where have you been? You say, I have been coming to church. So who are you lying to? Who are you lying to? Or maybe even you have been in a particular place and you've not even been going to church. Somebody tells you, where have you been? I've been going to my local church. If you go to that local church, nobody knows him. So who are you lying to? So you are that chaotic person. Can you change that attitude for the goodness of God? Because God does not actually want us to be actually like we are dishonest in what we are doing. Had no fear of God. That's another lesson that we see on Gehazi. He didn't have the fear of God. Because when he was taking this particular gift, did he put God himself in his heart? I don't know. Because at the end of the day, he was not able even to be at the court of Elisha at that time. So it's actually telling us he didn't have that fear of God. And the Bible is telling us that the fear of God is the beginning of knowledge. Yeah? When we fear our own God, it's like now we are actually being uplifted to a different level. So let us respect God in what we do. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and illustration. That's Proverbs 1:7. Proverbs 16, wickedness is a thorn for the loyalty and faithfulness. So at times you can actually be wicked. Maybe think that you are actually good. What I'm encouraging you this particular morning, let us fear our own God. Because God can invoke a lot of things. Another lesson, he was aggressive and desperate for material things. He was very aggressive and material. And he was very aggressive for material things. Because you could try to ask yourself, he has been with Elisha. He has seen all the goodness that Elisha has done. But he still even go further to take those material things that Naaman had. So he was actually somebody he was somebody that was like, he was seeing the world without seeing the faith. He was not seeing the goodness of the faith. He was only seeing about those material things. So you can read that one in Acts 20:35. In every way, I have shown you that by the laborers like this, it's necessary to help the weak and give in mind the words. More blessed to give than to receive. So it's actually good. Let us not follow the material wealth more than the salvation. That's what our own Bible is telling us. Let us try every way possible this salvation. In the book of Hebrews 13:6. Hebrews 13:5-6. Let your conduct be without covetousness. Be content with such things as you have. For he himself has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So even in whatever circumstances, things that we have in this world will never be enough. Even if you have wealth today, you will still want more tomorrow. But be contented with what you have. The Bible is telling us in the book of Proverbs 28:16, it's good to be contented in what we are actually doing. It's actually saying contentment is a discipline. It is good to always be contented. For the small things that you have, be contented with what you have. And God will actually bless you. I think I'm about to summarize. Another thing is, he did not stay in his place of service. When you see about Gehazi, he was supposed to stay with Elisha. But at the end of the day, he was not able to stay in his particular presence. You can read in the book of 1 Kings 28:39-42. you'll actually see about mentoring leader. Somebody that was not able to stay in his particular service, in his particular place of service. I can read. As the king passed by, the prophet called out to him, "Your servant went to the thick of the battle, and someone came to me with a captive and said, 'Cut this man. If he is missing, it will be your life for his life, or you must pay a talent of silver.'" 40. While your servant was busy here and there, the man disappeared. That is your sentence, the king of Israel said. You have pronounced yourself. So you are able to see in that 2040, he's saying, while your servant was busy, he was busy doing what? Looking for material things. You have come back, he had been left. Maybe even at times, you have been given even somebody to nurture in terms of Christianity. Maybe this person has been saved the other day, and you have been given as a prayer partner. You are not there with that person. Maybe even you are supposed to be even ministering even somewhere, but you are not somewhere. Try to look there. You say, while your servant was busy, he was busy doing the material things. Why do you become busy? To the extent that actually we live our own fate. Let us nurture our fate. Let us nurture our fate. Because as we nurture our fate, God will actually make us actually be whole. So this particular morning, I don't know what I have titled somebody. I've talked about the three characters. That's the captive girl, there is a Naaman, and there is Gehazi. My desire is, if you have a heart of Gehazi, can you live from this particular morning? Because this sermon has come at the right time. Maybe you've not been actually in service for the right time, or even for the right purpose. But this particular morning, God is telling you, be on service with the right motive. Because the motive that you are in, God will actually place that motive. We're able to see the summary even about the Gehazi. He was able to bring the curses to his generation. So at times, things that we actually do can invoke a curse to a generation that we don't know. But when we actually recognize the goodness that God is with us, God will actually place us abundantly. Let us have the heart of this captive girl, whereby he was able, even in that foreign land, he was able to testify the goodness of the salvation. Can we witness the good things that God has for us? Let us have the heart of Naaman, a humble heart that even accept correction, that even accept and recognize that there is actually a true God. So out of those three hearts that I have given you, can you evaluate yourself? And please know that if you are the one that lies, you are like Gehazi. You are the one that have even a wrong motive, you are like Gehazi. If you are not in the right place at the right time of service, you are Gehazi. Can we revenge our colleagues? Let us revenge our brothers, so that we actually get a bigger prize at the end of the day. Let us run with the hope that at the end of this world, we shall actually be able to see Christ. It will actually be painful for us. We come to church every Sunday. We are actually prayed, but at the end of the day, we will not reach where we are going. It's actually so not good, and it will not actually be. Yet it's not good to dwell here, and you will not reach your own destination. It's even go and stay even outside there, so that even when you will be banned at the end of the day, you say, yes, I deserve it. But maybe you've been coming here. Every day you are very obedient. But out of your own heart, there is a malice. Out of your own heart, you don't have a pure heart. May God forgive us for the goodness of the faith. I think from there, let me welcome Madam Mary to sum up this.
Can we clap for Elder Surely?